It produces millions of dollars if done correctly. The Liver King, didn't he get caught bullshitting?
Gets in the scandal, he lies to a bunch of people. And
My little 3-year-old the other day said Haktua. My wife said, no, that's a bad word. And I'm thinking, you got to spit on that thing. That's funny.
Yeah.
But like how she turned that into a brand was amazing. Think anyone can build a personal brand?
Yeah, 100%.
What would be their first step?
Well, a little alpha and hack right now is to go in and just act. We're seeing double view. I don't know how long that lasts for.
What it is, Brad Lee back again with another episode of Dropping Bombs. Today in the studio, folks, I got a real treat for you, especially if you value what's called a personal brand. Personal brand, my friend. That's what we're talking about today. That's what everybody's going to need, especially with AI coming out. And this dude, he's the hidden strategist behind explosive personal brands, business growth, a stealthy deal maker who's taken companies from limp to lightning fast. Think scaling revenue by identifying the blind spots most leaders don't know how to get to and do it quietly, efficiently, and with surgical precision. This dude ain't a flashy talker. He's the person who builds the machine and then steps back while it hums. Whether it's launching multi-million-dollar SaaS platforms or supercharging enterprise sales team, this dude lights it up behind the scenes. He's been dubbed the genius marketer behind the Liver King. The Liver King, and shown how strategic moves, not luck, builds legends. From revenue roles at Bevy and The Muse to launching 1DS Collective, he's spent years compressing growth cycles and turning complex systems into unstoppable engines. Now he's in front of the mic, ready to drop bombs on growth hacks, channel strategies, and the insane power of silent execution. Ladies and gentlemen, John Hyland in the house.
Thank you. I need you to introduce me every day. Whoever wrote that's a rock star.
John Hyland, folks, co-founder and CEO at 1DS Collective. So what is 1DS Collective?
We are a marketing agency. We have a talent management company and a media company. And so focused a lot on personal brands in health and wellness. We work with all types of brands, but mostly personal brands and people in the fitness, health, wellness, supplement kind of space.
Why'd you focus on that?
It was natural. It was a progression. I don't know. I mean, passionate about it. I think a lot of people on our team, we pride ourselves on being healthy and, doing stuff. And we acquired a bunch of clients in a short period of time that were supplement brands and, skincare and just things around health and some beauty, but really health and wellness. And it exploded from there. Also, Liver King has a huge supplement ecosystem, and we service that whole thing. And
is it still as popular as it was?
I mean, he was very popular before he started doing social media.
But didn't he get caught bullshitting?
Oh, yeah, majorly. Majorly.
Well, was that your doing?
No. And that was, kind of, a documentary just recently came out on Netflix about a month ago. And, a big part of us is that, he gets in the scandal, he lies to a bunch of people, and obviously we're the engine behind it. You can't just say, hey, we were responsible for doing all the good stuff. A lot of people assume we were responsible for creating this lie too.
Well, if you stand behind marketing, I guess you could get away with it. It's marketing.
Yeah, but we have to do it ethically and with integrity. At least I believe.
That's what I believe.
Yeah.
There's no reason to bullshit people.
No, it's
like, tell them the damn truth. Now, if the product's no good and it doesn't work and you're, in my opinion anyway, getting a lot of action and money because you're slick marketing, but at the end of the day, it's not true. Mm-hmm. That's where I would rather just not be, because it's not going to last. And 9 times out of 10, it doesn't end well.
No, it doesn't. Flash legacy, right? Depends on what you value in this world.
Yeah.
You just start with a good product.
Well, I mean, the dude's buff. Obviously, he was taking some shit. Why wouldn't he just say, well, yeah, I take supplements?
I don't know. And I think that was a dilemma. It was very manufactured when it came out in terms of, how he approached it and addressed it. But in a split second, he had on his first big podcast, he did one with a business partner of his to kind of test it. And then he went on Impulsive, right? With the guys.
That's what did it.
That's what did it. And he got asked. And so like having a one-on-one podcast with like a Paul Saladino, who he's in business with, Carnivore MD. He asked him, because everyone asked him. I asked him the first time I met him, like, how are you approaching addressing the steroid thing? Like, how are we going to address this? What are you talking about? He's like, focus on eating, testicles and raw liver. And it's like, bro, come on. Now, there's nobody that works out harder than him. He's a savage. But that was a pivotal point. So much so that, I've talked about this before, that we believed it. We were creating, parody content around him not taking steroids and everyone thinking he did, where he played two roles of himself and a doctor and, hey, your blood test came back, where he was walking away and we had needles stuck in, like, I don't know, a piece of raw liver. I forgot what it was at the time. And he was like, yeah, let's do it. Lean into it. This is not true. And obviously, if anybody could have done it, it was him, because of how savage he was just as a human.
Working out, by the way, and I'm sure will agree, is what got him ripped. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can take all the steroids you want and not work out. And trust me, it doesn't do anything.
It doesn't do anything.
Yeah, because I've done it.
Yeah.
And I stayed chubby. Why? Because my diet sucked and my workout was non-existent and the steroids themselves did nothing.
There's no magic pill to
Probably
anything.
Was jacking up my hormones or something. No, steroids obviously accelerate muscle repair and muscle growth. And yeah, it's definitely enhancement. But at the end of the day, dude, if I look like him, who cares how I got here? And if it was because I'm selling liver pills, so I want to claim it was liver. If he really ate the liver, which I seen him eat the liver, yeah. And I don't know how he does that nasty shit. But at the end of the day, like, I think he could have probably skirted the issue and not got, caught, as they say. I don't hold people accountable. Like, I'm just thinking, whatever, he sold a bunch of pills and, but the liver itself, it's not going to do anything.
No.
And if he would have just said that, like, guys, listen, it's not just the liver. It's me busting my ass and working out like a savage.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I mean by skirting it. Like, dude, there's truth to that. Mm-hmm. Like, dude, you can't just eat liver or take steroids and look like that. There has to be some fucking muscle. There has to be some freaking savagery, some working out, some pain, some suffering. And most people wouldn't have done that and won't do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm included.
It's wild. What we packaged and what he ultimately pitched to was this whole entire lifestyle, right? Around ancestral living. And
did he make that up or did you guys make that up?
He pulled it from a bunch of different stuff. I forgot the books and the references in which he built, because he had ancestral supplements built on this philosophy. But packaging it up, putting visuals to it, creating some succinct messages throughout the whole thing, through lines, packaging it up and ultimately delivering it, via social and via content was all us. But yeah, it's simple stuff like, hey, ground, right? Get sun. Bond with your family, fight, cold, expose yourself to cold, and just all this different stuff.
When you said fight, it's part of ancestral living.
Yeah. Just, put yourself through, whether it be, he says, we used to have to fight saber-toothed tigers or woolly mammoths or whatever. What's your fight? Like, what are you fighting for? And just fighting for something, right? Going after it and having to put a man through struggle or a human through struggle and have them fight for something is good. Which, if you go down all of the tenets, they're amazing. Absolutely incredible.
Who are these other brands that you messed with? Any big ones I know? Because I didn't follow the Liver King. I saw him here and there on my feed, and I just thought, buff dude. I didn't realize he was saying he was eating testicles, but I didn't follow him. But I saw this one guy one time, and then he just disappeared. But he would pour himself a Jägermeister or something and slam that down, and then he would open up some sort of, you know who I'm talking about?
I don't know.
He was and he would take the shot and be like, and it was just quick and easy, but it just disappeared. Yeah, I didn't either. And then there was a guy, they called him Dreamy or something. He would sing old songs. Remember he went viral for a minute and then he's gone.
Yeah.
So what do you do when people like go viral and then they kind of just disappear? What happened there?
Well, there's just in anything in life, business, anything, right? What's the messaging? What's the packaging? What are you actually communicating? And if it has substance and value, people are going to stick around. I mean, that guy on, what was it, riding on the bike, or was it a skateboard with drinking the, cranberry juice, ocean spray. And I mean, talk about, or hawk to a girl, right? Like you have all these little splash in the pan moments that can be leveraged and expanded upon.
The hawk to a girl.
Yeah. You remember her?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But like, it made no sense to me.
No.
I mean, it was funny. I understood why it went viral. You got to spit on that thing. That's funny.
Yeah.
But like how she turned that into a brand was amazing.
Well, that was meticulously put together. Like she had a team behind her doing that. I mean, when you have that, you come out with merch and apparel immediately and you capture that wave. And then you have a podcast spun up and she had a team behind her. I don't know who did it, but they did a good.
But who's buying a Haktua girl shirt? Like who cares about Haktua?
It's meme. It's cultural relevancy, as well as balancing that with entertainment and where is the foundational, like what are the guts of this? Like it has to be something impactful.
Do you think Haktua has been added to the dictionary?
I have no idea. We should check that out.
My little 3-year-old the other day said Haktua.
No, she didn't.
Yes, she did. And my wife said, no, that's a bad word. And I'm thinking, it's not even a word. Like see how crazy things got? Like now Haktua means spitting on a dick.
That's crazy.
It's Haktua. What is that? Like, come on.
It's wild. No, I mean,
that's the power of a personal brand.
Yeah. There was a story I can draw from is when I was living in New York and my roommate at the time, still a very good friend of mine, and we were in business doing some stuff. His name's Nick Uhas, and he was a host, and he hosted is it Blown Away or whatever, the glass blowing show on Netflix. He's just done a bunch of really cool stuff. But, he got accepted onto Big Brother. I think it was season 15. And, I was going to move to LA. He got on Big Brother. He's like, John, I was in some talent management stuff already. And he's like, we have to position my brand because he doesn't have access to telephones, nothing while he's in the Big Brother house. How can we position this? So that when we get out, we can leverage this moment in time we're going to have, because they don't come around often for most people. And so we did a really good job. We ended up taking that moment of him being on Big Brother and being, a pretty essential cast member for the first half of the season, and then leverage that into an entire tour and sponsorships and meetups and all of this stuff that ultimately launched a really big YouTube channel for him in a cool way. And so I think that there's a lot of these opportunities, obviously with staying power and substance and these things. Obviously, that's why you see these flash in the pans like a Haktua. But I think when people have their moment, and whether that's you're sitting and creating content every single day and you're not getting views and you're not getting views and you're not getting views, and then all of a sudden one piece of content rips. Is the ecosystem set up, and have you prepped for this stuff, and stay ready so you don't have to get ready. But as it relates, like these flash in the pans, I think the ones that have stayed have substance.
Do you think anyone can build a personal brand?
Yeah, 100%.
So anyone?
Yeah, anybody.
What would be their first step?
Doing a real full inventory of who am I. What do I do? We were talking about it earlier, right? Like, what is your gift, right? What will you put on this earth? Some people don't know what that is. And that's a lot of exploration and honest and radical, self-awareness in a lot of ways. And I think that understanding what value you have to add to the world. I know that there's, from practicing a trade and be really good at it, or just having an interesting philosophy about things. Things have shaped our lives in incredible ways. I've had heart attacks. You had, when you were very young, and then had the same thing happen with your daughter. That shapes us son. That shapes us in crazy ways. crazy ways. And I think a lot of people, need to hear some stuff and like all the way from, hey, am I the best artist and paint murals to, people want to maybe become an artist. I think everybody has a gift to give to this world. And I think, and on top of that, the way to grow now and to get attention is to, build a social following and build a community around it. It doesn't even have to be on one of these major platforms, even a chat group on Facebook or a Discord. And there's so many different ways to interact with people now and to bring people into an ecosystem with a common interest that, I think, but going back, anybody can create a personal brand. And I think that it is the most powerful and fastest way to get, influence around something.
Yeah, I agree. So I keep telling people, a powerful personal brand is more valuable than people think. Because, I mean, if you have money, for example, you can pay for it. You can hire the people, hire the camera guys, hire the freaking editors, and literally it might cost you $20,000, $30,000 a month for 5 years straight. Mm-hmm. And people are like, why would you do that? Because it produces millions of dollars if done correctly.
100%.
But you could also spend all that money in 5 years, not be anywhere because you didn't do it right. Mm-hmm. So what would you say the right way to do it is?
Well,
you have to have an idea guy. Like, is your firm more of an idea guy? Like if I hired you guys, would you say, well, Brad, you've done pretty good on your own. Mm-hmm. But we think we need to, do this thing, and you'd be at 10 million followers or 100 million followers. Like I got 1.3 on Instagram. It kind of just stayed there for like the last year. I mean, it was building consistently for a couple years, and it was consistently building. And then once I hit 1.3, mm-hmm. Is that like, that's it? That's all the people that like Brad.
No. And it's hard. Social media is a grueling place. It's a place where, you can put a piece of content out and people tell you instantly if they like it or not. Right.
Well, you know what people are telling me? They want me to give my opinion on relationships. Like all the comments, like I'll put out, and again, keep in mind, dude, I don't buy followers. Mm-hmm. Never have bought followers in my entire life. I don't enter the contests where,
like for like and all that
I don't
stuff.
do all that shit. Yeah. Like my followers are real followers, thank God. And I don't think anybody should be buying followers, period. And if I were to ever change my mind, it would be the initial amount of followers to get you the ability to do the links and the swipe ups. Cause like, I think you have to have like 10,000 or something. Yeah. Whatever you got to do to get there, like that to me is where you start. But once you look at it for real, fake followers are worthless. Mm-hmm. It's just vanity. Hey, look, I got 1 million followers, but they're not real. You make a post, nothing happens.
No, it doesn't matter.
Worthless.
It's worthless.
But dude, with a real 1.3 million, because a lot of people, I'm going somewhere with this. A lot of people will say, all you got to do is look at their comments. If they got 1 million followers and they got 10 comments, then they're not real. Well, that's not true because number one, I have 1.3 million real followers, and some posts just don't get a bunch of action and some posts do. So it's like, you can't just look at their comments. How do you know if someone's all fake followers?
Yeah. Well, it's wild engagement, a lot of metrics, but even with people don't realize this, but like, you put a post out on Instagram, I don't know, 15, 20% of your audience, an audience your size, maybe even less, people are seeing it.
That's
right?
true.
Like,
and I've been suppressed before where like nobody was seeing it.
And here's another thing that I was going to say. There are multiple factors at play here, right? So you put content out on any of these platforms. Well, let's predominantly talk about short form, like Instagram, right? Okay. You put content out, not only are not all your followers getting served this content, it runs it through an algorithm to see if this is good content or not, because they want to keep people on the platform. So there's a science to that, right? In terms of structuring content, both from a auditory standpoint, from a text that what people are seeing, what's being shot, how it's being shot. There's a science to that. And then there's just the art of being interesting and having something to share, but going back to that, so people aren't seeing your content, all of them. So being there, repetition, people are afraid to post the same piece of content twice. I mean, we have a big part, not a big part, but a part of a robust strategy is reposting content. reposting it in stories, posting the link to the reel and sharing it to your stories. And, a good buddy of mine who's a client of ours too, Tavi Castro, he's done a great job at this. He has a huge health following, one of the biggest health influencers there is, fitness influencers. But I think there's that. I think getting the real followers like of value, right? We have the ability, when YouTube came out, we have the ability to, own, why was Jordan on a Wheaties box? Because he had, a lot of people looked up to him, and there was very limited real estate to advertise, right? Your radio, print, and then television, and how many channels were there. And as that grew, it wasn't gate kept, right? And so they put the power in the people's hands to attract eyeballs. The more eyeballs you have, the more influence you have, the more money you can make, all of this stuff. So what these platforms have given us the ability to do is become our own little media company, right?
Period.
And the more valuable the content, the more effort you put into it, the more you help people, whether that's teaching something or helping them get and close the gap from where they are to where they want to be, whether it's business or finance or relationships like you're getting asked, or parenting, or learning a trade. There's a ton of things, but I think that, having and growing an audience and doing it the right way. So when you say hey, how do you get these followers? Or there's that question, but there's an art and a science to it. There's a science of structuring content, and you need a hook, and you need a visual hook. You need an auditory hook. You need to, you need to structure your content and pre-frame and come back to things and tease an ending for a payoff so people stay. And so there's that. And then it's just, having and honing like Liver King did. He had this amazing polarizing message. In theory, philosophically he did, but practically applying that and putting that out in the world where people were interested and taking people on a journey is where the real strategy comes in.
How much money do you think you can make if you do it successfully?
Depends on what you're doing, right? I know that, there's different categories of content. For instance, YouTube, like finance influencers, they have a lot higher CPM, cost per, 1,000 views. Because you got to think of the advertisers on it are selling like credit cards and financial instruments and loans and all this stuff that is, there's a lot of money in that game. But I think so. You have multiple revenue pillars. You have these things where you can monetize content with ads, and then you have, if you're selling something, it's a real funnel that you can open that faucet and lever quite a bit. But it varies tremendously. I'll use it because it's a good example, and I want to keep coming back to something that everyone can relate to. Is that Liver King, right? Never brand deal, had the supplement company. We never mentioned the supplement company, and it was very strategic. Show eating liver, show doing this, show doing all of these things, and then say, hey, if you can't eat, you need to eat liver. But if you can't, you can go get it in a pill, right? Or if you don't like the taste of it, because like you said, it's not the best tasting thing. But and organically tying that in and being authentic. Authenticity is a major deal, right? You are authentically yourself in all of this stuff, and you believe everything in your book, what you're doing here. You are 100% yourself, and it's very easy, and people can see through that stuff. And so, all right, going back to the question, how much money can you make on social? It depends on what you're doing. But from building a community where people pay you to be a part of it, to selling products or service, or just creating really, really entertaining content in a category that a lot of people like to advertise in. And there's so many different ways to, monetize a social following.
I see a lot of people that have a big following, but they don't know how to monetize it. Mm-hmm. They're literally like, I got a big following, and they're engaged, but I don't know how to monetize it. Like, well, that's the easy part, right? In my mind, like, how can you help? That's all I think about. How can I help people? Mm-hmm. I go, you know what? I could help people by doing this. And if that problem were solved for them, it would probably be worth at least this. Okay, anybody want help for this? Go do this. Boom, money. Mm-hmm. Like, how do you not monetize a following? Yeah, there's people out there that need your help because they have a following. They just don't know how to monetize it. But more people need your help on building their personal brand and getting some actual followers. So how would you tell the listeners, here's what you need to do to get started, and then, maybe reach out to you if they get a little momentum? Yeah. There's, doing like a self audit and finding, you said it perfectly. What problem can I solve for people?
Bigger problems you solve, the more you get paid, right? And then how do I create engaging content around it? I'm going to release to the viewers. We built a custom ChatGPT to walk through like this personal brand thing, where it walks you through a list of questions so that you can. It's obviously it's only so deep, but it gives a really, really good base to this type of stuff. You could figure out like, what is my audience pain point? You know, what am I trying to do, and what am I trying to communicate? How do I have proof points that I'm the one that they should be listening to for this? But yeah, get out. I think a big part of it is getting out there and putting the reps in, right? And
well, that's the only thing that's helped me.
Yeah.
Like, when people ask me, what did I do? I freaking was authentic by allowing what I did to be filmed. And then I had a team chop it up, drop some headlines, a hook, you know, to kind of, as you're scrolling by, stop people. And then there's just whatever it is I was thinking and saying, because I don't create content like most people. I just let me be filmed. So like, well, that's I am the content.
Exactly. And that's a big thing. And so even if you're doing it yourself, the first thing that you said is just getting filmed or filming yourself. That's a huge step.
And I flooded the internet with my face.
Yeah.
And then people eventually, who is this dick? They listened. Then some liked it, some didn't. Some followed, some didn't. And that was that. So like, that's fairly successful way of doing it, but it's not necessarily, you know, a personal brand. I always say everyone has a personal brand. No one knows about it. So what do you think the definition of personal brand even means? What does that mean? Personal brand.
Yeah. What you're known for, what you stand for. Just like, you know, when we think of Nike, right? We think of just do it. Right. You know, there are some things that you would describe yourself and other people would describe you.
Yeah. Well, so what would that be for me? Let's use me as the example. Number one, what can I do? What do you think I'm known for or stand for?
Well, I think hard truths. I think that you're very straightforward and blunt. I think that, you know, and you talk about this in different sections of your book, right? Like just get shit done and move forward and relentlessly. Don't make excuses like this, just relentless pursuit of being better, right? And sharing that stuff with the world. Because, you know, I think once you have success in a certain area, I think we have a duty to be able to share this with the world. I mean, you say what? Learn from me so you don't have to make the same mistakes or whatever, you know, exactly the way you phrased it.
Lessons I learned the hard way so you don't have to.
Exactly. And so that's a major deal. And so I think that the more we go through in life and the more success we get, the more people are going to look to us so we can be a mentor and you know, reach down and figuratively, literally with a hand and help people up, you know, with us. And knowledge is everything. Knowledge is power. You know, I know every single time I read a book, I take one nugget away from it and I feel like I have a cheat code to life. And I think that as we acquire knowledge and go through things, you know, you know, I think it's our duty to share these things with the world in whichever, you know, realm or industry or niche or whatever you're in. So I think going back to you, yeah, you have a very authentic, real and raw, get shit done brand. And you want to add a ton of value, hence the word dropping bombs. Like how can people walk away from consuming your content with actionable insights to hopefully, you know, 1DS is 1 degree shift. Make that 1 degree shift in their life that's going to put them on a little bit of different trajectory. And then how do we show up every day and do 1 degree shift more, 1 degree shift more? Next thing you know it, you fast forward a year and you're a completely different place in life. So I think that a personal brand is what you're known for. What people think about you, what people, you know, say about you, when you're either there or not there, mainly not there. And ultimately I think it's the foundation to what you're going to contribute to the world.
What would you say about people that fear haters?
Well, the more successful and the more traction you gain in life, whether that be becoming an expert at something or acquiring wealth or, you know, something, you're always, the more successful you are, the more haters you get. And you have to understand that there's just a ton of keyboard warriors out there that hate themselves. And this is their way to, you know, make them feel better about themselves by bringing other people down. It's age old. People don't like to see other people doing well because the majority and the masses aren't doing well themselves. And it hurts weak people to see, you know, good people doing good things or big things or succeeding in some way, shape or form. So I just say, turn that off. You know, I always say like the mark of a real, like when you start to gain traction with a message in a community, there's always this interesting point where you don't even have to defend yourself or even look at this anymore. Your audience does it for you. Right. And there's this weird,
that's starting to happen for me.
There's this weird thing when you have people that really, vibe with Brad Lee and are like, no, Brad's a shit. And people that are really into you and following your journey and love being a part of it, they say, no, you're not taking this guy down. Like, and they start fighting your battles for you. And I think it happens with everything. It happens with every single personal brand. They reach this critical mass where they don't have to look at that. I don't think you should defend and post that stuff. No, you can turn these things, these hating comments strategically. And we do that, create content around, comment strategy. But I think you're always going to have haters in life. It's something you got to deal with.
What would you do if I hired your firm to like reinvent or blow me up?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what would you do knowing what you know?
I would take a complete inventory audit of everything you have. And just like a consultancy comes in somewhere, what's going well? What are you doing really well? What are people saying? Just do a complete audit of everything out there, and as well as what you have in the archives. I mean, you have hundreds and hundreds, almost 1,000 episodes of this, and just look at, hey, put everything on the kitchen table. And what do we have to play with? And then obviously, I think the biggest thing for you, it's why blow up, right? And then it's really digging into what are your goals too. That's the biggest thing, because I think, as you know, content's a grind.
Not for me.
You in what that you have a team and this stuff, but like doing it, starting it, doing it every day, waking up, filming, editing. If you don't have a team, if anybody out there listening to this, like, it's a daunting thing that you have to show up every day at, just like getting in shape or anything.
Yeah.
Right. People think, oh, I just created this good piece of content. They post it online. Crickets. And it's like, oh, I'm a failure. It's like, no, people are going to like this. You just need people to see it. And then how do you do that? But for you, I take everything, put it on the table and say, hey, what is going really, really well? And what do you want to do with this platform? And these multiple platforms you built, but obviously the Brad Lee platform at large. What do you want to do more of? What do you want to do less of? What's life look like after Lightspeed, if there is a life after Lightspeed? I don't know. And just go through all of this stuff that you and what you want to achieve. And how can we help your personal brand ecosystem that you've already built? How can we pour jet fuel on there to get you there faster? And how can we create different content? Staying ahead of, trends and algorithms. Like you said, you were suppressed at 1.3. For a long time, Instagram, and this is what I was going to say earlier, for a long time, Instagram was not even, promoting big followings, and we're suppressing. Some people call it shadow banning, and I don't know, whatever. But they wanted people to get encouraged to get on the platform like you're talking about. Somebody that doesn't have hasn't created content, has something to share with the world. They want them to get our authentic and organic visibility naturally. When you open up the phone and you scroll, you want to see new things that you haven't seen. And so, they said, hey, we're gonna flip this on its head, and people with over X amount of followers, we're gonna start suppressing their content and encourage people to get on the platform and start creating more that don't have these big followings. And so there are little things like that have constantly, not that nobody doesn't like you, because you were like, you get 1.3, it's like, well, people don't like me anymore. No, it's you're also, not only are you navigating this personal brand journey, but you're also navigating that all these platforms have all the power. And so then how can you utilize and leverage these things while you're building your own thing on the side, right? And whether that be a community, an email list, a newsletter, and all these things in which you can bring people together, and you're not at the mercy of if Meta decides they want to do something or not. Right now, something really cool that's happening, and this is happening consistently, and you have to have people that stay on top of this stuff. We're partners with all the big social platforms, and we get, access to beta programs and stuff that they're launching. Like right now, Instagram just launched edits, right? And it's like a cap cut for, Instagram and Meta. So they can go in there and you can edit your content in the app, and now you're getting double visibility because people in the app are viewing content in this new edits thing. So a little alpha and hack right now is to go in and just add music into the Edits app. And we're seeing double view. I don't know how long that lasts for, but they're encouraging people to use the app. So if you're using the app, your content automatically goes in the app as well as to your main feed. at the same time, and all the views count towards your Instagram post, but people are on a different platform viewing it. And so there's these little things that are consistently developing on all these platforms that you just want to stay ahead of and kind of ride these trends, as well as, test. So for you, going back, what's working, what's not, what do you want to achieve? That first. What's working, what's not, what do you have access to, and how do we leverage it to the best of our ability and maximize viewership on this stuff?
Where does the creativity come in? There has to be some sort of creativity.
Well, there's a brand. There's a brand, right? So we start everything with like, hey, what is your overarching message? And what do you, like you said, your personal brand, what is, obviously I said a lot of things about you, but you distill that down into like Nike's just do it. And that communicates a lot, right? So like, what is that single value proposition? We do it for brands, products, services. We do it for people. What are you bringing to the world? And what do you want the world to know about you?
Mine would be like, it's almost a cross between like anyone can do it and it's not rocket science. Like, in other words, like it's so easy and common sense, people miss it. Like we were talking about in there, the choices. Like, dude, people literally have the power of free will, but they don't use it. They let emotions take over and they let other people literally drive their boat. And it's like, bro, you have the control. It's called free will. Well,
so then you start identifying what is it, right? It isn't rocket surgery. It isn't this thing. It's like, and you start saying, okay, well, and we start by deductive reasoning and first principle thinking back into like, what are these core things, right? You say
mine's fierce simplicity.
There you go. And, I always growing up, I'm a big person on mentors, and I don't think this younger generation values them as much as they should, looking up and asking for help and getting people, because people are willing to help, especially if they have a knowledge. If you ask for help, people are like excited to do it. And most of the time we'll do it for free, wanting nothing in return and live life out of abundance. But, I think that, creating these content pillars about what it is, and you say, hey, procrastination, what is it? We create these content pillars, right? And we say, hey, these are the different content series or frameworks in which we're going to build content around. Because then you could just have a blank sheet of paper and just say, well, I don't know, let's just create content. No, well, let's actually have, different content topics and things that we want to talk about. And let's weave those in strategically throughout a content strategy, right? Like, how often are you posting this? What does that look like? And then, so once we have we have the brand, single-minded value proposition, and then we get into, what is it? And then we identify that into content pillars, right? Like getting out of your own way could be one of yours, right? And then you're going to have all these talks about personal experiences and stories of where people got in their own way and they just shifted their mentality a little bit or looked from a different perspective and they were able to see themselves. They took themselves from a third person view and looked down at the chessboard, realized that they were about to get checkmate. They're like, oh shit, and snap out of it, right? How can people get out of their own way? And you attack that angle in a bunch of different ways. Make it relatable, make it engaging. And then we do that with a bunch of buckets of content. And then ultimately, that has a overarching strategy that's leading people on a path and a journey somewhere. To you, it could be, hey, these are the 4 main things that I want to touch on that I dig deep into in my book. You might not have, 6 hours right now to read my book or haven't, but I can give you a little snackable bites. You want to learn more, go here, sign up to my newsletter, be a part of my community and all this stuff. And so I think it's identifying those and what you want to add value to the world and finding really dynamic and creative ways to tell that story 1,000 different times and around that bucket and doing it with each of the buckets strategically. So you become known for those things. And
what is the chatbot thing you're talking about sharing with the audience?
Yeah. So, we have a lot of really robust systems we build. We have developers and quant AI guys and stuff. And, we use a lot of out of the box LLMs too for stuff more surface level. And, I have a personal brand strategy, like content strategy bot that we'll drop in the comments on this video and give access to everybody. And it walks you through these series of questions. At least it gets you started, and it can give you kind of the story arc that we implement when we do content strategy for clients. This is alpha that, we're very, very good at this. And this brings some general frameworks in so you can start to get an idea. And then you can take that stuff and do anything. Also in it, there's little tricks like, on ChatGPT, I take all your scripts and figure out exactly your voice and tone. And there's a way to get that, right? How do you talk? And have this really long prompt for like, how does Brad Lee talk? And then so that every single thing and content idea and script that you put out is speaking exactly like you, and keep training this thing. There's these little tricks that's included, the voice tone, chat there. Billie Jean actually introduced me to that thing. But yeah, so I think that there's a lot of good stuff. I think people, if they're wondering, what do I do? What do I have value do I have that you're asking? What's a personal brand? How do I start one? If I don't have one, what does this look like? I think this is a really good starting point.
So that link will be in the chat or the comments?
Yeah, wherever we'll make it accessible to everybody.
Like you'll give it to me later, or you'll comment on this video when it drops?
I'll give it to you. Yeah, we'll do all the above.
Okay, I'll put it in the notes.
Yeah.
All right, and then so what's got you the most passionate right now? What's got you the most excited?
Finding a way to unify. I think when you get to a certain level and or success or experience or whatever it is, there's a long time in business, and I imagine everyone will take $1 from anybody that'll give it to you. Right? It's like, I'm trying to entrepreneur scrappy. And then you get to this point where, you really want to align and do things and start getting to pick your clients. One, get to pick projects you work on and not have to say yes to everything. I'm really, really excited about that. We're working on some really cool stuff. I'm really, really excited, and I know the team is too, is leveraging technology. I think, we're in this age right now where a lot of the mundane things that take a lot of time can all be automated, where we can, as humans and experts in different areas, focus fully on being an expert and not getting caught up in the mundane. Of just running a business or everyday life or all these things. I think technology that's emerging right now and has emerged and is taking over, is giving us the ability to, be really good at something and focus more and more of our energy on that thing. And we're building systems to, help us and others do that. And I'm really excited and passionate about that.
So you've stayed off the stage most of your career. What made you decide now to come into the old limelight and jump on some podcasts and give out some knowledge?
It's time to drop some bombs. I think that what we do really, really well, and I'd argue better than anybody in the world. We've won awards for it and a whole bunch of stuff. I think a lot of people are trying to figure out the questions you've asked me today, right? And my partner in everything, Sam Parham, he's been doing content a lot. I've made a bunch of excuses for myself. I'm like, I like being the Wizard of Oz. Content's hard. And I've for the longest time, I say, it's the painter on the street that has the worst painted house because he's too busy painting everybody else's, and once again, another excuse. But it's been that, you're doing it day in and day out and breathing this stuff. And then you go and try to do it for yourself. I'm leaning in now. I think, being featured on this documentary, it's come to me. Right. And saying, hey, I'd love to talk to you about this, when I'm always the one I was here before with you, with a client of ours. I'm doing the same thing, helping them, leverage and tell their story in compelling ways and put themselves out there. And it's nice that, okay, well, wait, hey, this guy or this team is, responsible and behind all these things. I want to talk to them. And that's been fun. I've been leaning into it. Long form, I like more too. And so this podcast format is good because I get to go deep on things and get to talk about context.
Where do they follow you? Because I didn't see it on here.
At J_HY. And then our company is at 1DS Collective.
I was going to say, you don't have an Instagram.
I do have an Instagram.
It's funny is a lot of people, and I was included, when I started this training company, I was helping I started trying to do it myself, and because I'd get great training. And then I ran into competitors, and then I'm like, well, what if they were on here? And they're like, well, we'd buy that. So I'm like, okay, well, let me just quit trying to, compete, and let me just collaborate. And I went and started closing all them. And then I just spent the whole time helping them build all of their brands and their training system and everything. And coincidentally, people wonder who's that. So they started kind of following me just by being around them.
Mm-hmm.
And then they started listening. They're like, dude, I like this guy better than that guy. So it was like, I just saw what the power of personal branding did for those guys and those girls. And I'm like, dude, I got to do this. So like 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 years ago, I don't remember. It's been a while, but I told my wife, I'm like, I got to start doing these things. And she goes, oh my God, please don't. You're not going to be one of those guys, are you? And I'm like, babe, I have to if I want to get where I want to go. A personal brand is going to be very important. Trust me, you'll thank me later.
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, here we are 5, 6, 7 years later. Personal brand's one of the most important assets that I think I've accumulated. This platform, this podcast. When I started the podcast, everyone said, come on, dude, everyone's got a podcast. Well, no, I don't think enough people have a podcast. I think everyone should have a podcast.
Agreed.
But they don't, well, what if no one listens? Well, that's the problem. Just share. Put it out in the world.
Person. Yeah.
Just share and put it out in the world. If no one listens, guess what? Keep sharing, put it out in the world. And eventually, even posthumous, what do they call it? After you're dead.
Mm-hmm.
Posthumously, whenever you die, maybe all of a sudden you get famous 10 years after you die from the shit you were sharing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's too late. You're dead. Well, then you were doing it for selfish reasons. Like try to help people, put out content, put out information, do a self-audit. Everything that you said, do a self-audit. But most importantly, share.
Mm-hmm.
Just get it out there. And quit worrying about what everybody thinks.
Mm-hmm. So many amazing people have had so many things to share with the world forever and haven't had the tools that we have at our disposal now to be able to put that out very easily.
This is the new TV.
Yeah. And nobody can take it from you, right? Like, okay, yeah, Instagram might shut down or this shut down or whatever, but reputation is the most important thing we have. And personal brand is that. I think on the other side of that too, it's being able to, leave a legacy in some way, shape or form.
Not only that, even with AI nowadays, dude, you're in 3 years, you're not going to know what's real and what's fake.
Yeah.
So you better have a personal brand because that's trust.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it doesn't matter then at that point. Like a lot of these actors, I don't know. I know it was happening a couple of years. People were selling their likeness, like big major A-list actors selling so they could go make films with their likeness and go use their voice and go do stuff and license them. But it didn't matter because there's trust there, like you said. And so it's like, I don't care if it's an AI avatar or what it is. If it's coming from that person, it's authentic and it's good. I don't think people are going to care. Like I always say, good content wins. And so, looping it back to the Hawk 2 and these flash in the pans, when there's substance there and it's good, there's staying power, it'll always prevail.
So how can the Bomb Squad help Mr. John Hyland?
Just get out there and create content. And do it. I'm pushing myself to do it. I'm going to hold myself accountable in this whole thing too. But, not at all. I give 1DS some love or whatever, but at the end of the day, I think, creativity and putting yourself out there is a major step. And the more people that do that, I get great joy of seeing that.
And then obviously, folks, if you have been wanting to build a personal brand, he doesn't take everyone because he's had success with everyone he's dealt with. But if you qualify, well, then, I'd say get help because sometimes it's people that he knows that you don't know. There's techniques and shortcuts that he might have learned that you're going to pay a long road to learn. So reach out, just reach out. Is the best place to reach out to you?
On my Instagram. Yeah.
J_high, HY.
JHY. Yep. J_HY. Yep.
So that's where you want all the people that are going to come bombard him from this podcast.
Drop bombs. Yeah. That and 1DS. Check out. We're revamping our website. We have some case studies there.
1DS.com?
1DScollective.com.
1DScollective.com.
Yeah. And we have some more, low ticket, we'll call it, solutions of like content strategy and social management. That's at 1DSmax.com, 1DS Max. But Yeah, I think, yeah. 1DS, there's some case studies there. And we walk through in the case studies, we have Liver King's one of them, but we have about 5. We're putting another 15 or 20 up, walking through sequentially what we did and how we did it. And so they're pretty cool. They're very depth. They're all like a mini website in themselves, these case studies. So you can, I think even just digging around, it's fun to go on there and see how some of the stuff is developed.
Well, one of these days, dude, I'm going to close you on using Lightspeed to build a course. Cause again, there's going to be a lot of people that either don't get around to doing it, but if they had an on-demand interactive course of you that would teach them step by step what you would do for them high dollars. Like in other words, you're not going to work with everybody anyway. So we virtualize you in these studios, and now someone can hire the virtual version of you to walk them through everything for a fraction of the price to get the real company to do it.
Let's do it.
And you'd have a million people out there doing that. And what's funny when you do it that way, certain people never would have paid you the big dollars to do it, right? They just can't figure it out. They can't wrap their head around it. But they'll give you, some chump change to go through your course. Well, when they go through your course and they realize how much there is, they end up going, dude, I'd rather just pay you. Yeah. And that's how you get customers. Yeah. So a lot of these people think, well, I don't want to give away my secret sauce in a course because then they won't hire me. That's not true. The people wouldn't hire you that might buy a course, end up hiring you anyway.
Yeah. We hold nothing back. There's no secret. The secret sauce is being in the game all the time.
When you're ready for a course, you come back.
I love it.
And then I'll put you on Lightspeed, and then we'll drop more bombs and drive people to that.
I love it.
Until then, folks, just go follow them at J_HY on Instagram. You can DM them if you want some more questions answered. Folks, everybody needs a personal brand. Even if you got to build it yourself, there's CapCut, there's edits, there's all these, it's a little bit more of a grind to do it yourself, but trust me, you got to get it done. It's almost like, I always tell people you got to start a business, even a side hustle. Like people, I got a job, I got a family, dude, then get a little side hustle going, because like, this is like that, man. It's like, trust me, build yourself a personal brand. John Hyland, you're a good dude. Appreciate you coming in. Folks, as always, till next time, keep it real.